All right. Well, welcome back. I've been out for a bit, but this is the HR blockchain. We're happy to be back. And we are back in a big way today. So I am super excited. Today marks an excellent conversation that we're going to have with Master Sergeant from the U.S. Army, orator, motivator, speaker, T-shirt that says "Breaking Points or Making Points," which I
That's it.
love. That's it. Is
That's it.
Master Sergeant Cedrick King. Welcome to the HR Blockchain. How are you?
Hey, man, thanks so much, Leo. I'm telling you, man, it's great times to be alive. These amazing moments to be alive. And I'm blessed, man. I really am.
I hear you. I feel the same way. I'm blessed. It's what are we're learning so much about ourselves right now, and I'm going to come out of the
Absolutely.
gate. I'm going to come out of the gate right with it. Like where are we? A lot of us, I work with a lot of leaders daily, right? And I'm thinking about from my leadership teams, the folks that I consult, the folks that are watching this video that lead other people on a day-to-day basis in what the midst of what we consider to be a national crisis,
Yep.
the fabric of a lot of our country kind of going in different directions. How do we reconcile this? And from somebody who is teaching leadership, who's been through leadership, where are we there in your opinion? I mean, what can we take? What can we learn right now?
These times, right now, these are the moments.
Hmm.
2020 is the moment where leaders are really, really stepping forward. Okay, I'll put it like this. I'll put it
All
like
right.
this. Most times, when national tragedy hits, you know, twin towers fall down, the USS Cole is bombed.
Hmm.
When these tragic events happen on our U.S. soil, most people are terrified. That's why they call it terror. Now,
Hmm.
on the other hand, there are people that aren't terrified, but they are excited at the opportunity that the tragedy created. Okay. And
Hmm.
those people are the people who've been training the whole time. Okay. I can remember the day that the Twin Towers fell. It was a horrible day for anyone that was alive. Anybody that can remember September 11th, 2001.
Hmm.
Horrible day for anybody alive. But for the US Army, I can remember everyone in my company, everyone, all 100 and whatever guys were they were mad that this happened,
Hmm.
but they were excited about the opportunity that this created. Okay. Now, if you fast forward to today, 2020, there are people that are terrified, but there are also people that are incredibly excited about the opportunity that this year has provided. And I will say this, if you are afraid, you got something great happening. If you are excited about the opportunity, you also have something great happening. Either way, you're winning. The only way that you can't win in 2020 is that you are so terrified that you allow your fear to stop you from doing what you know needs to be done, which is adapt and pivot. If you're
Yeah.
afraid of pivoting, then this will be the worst experience of your life.
You
This will
better
be the
be
worst
honest.
experience. But if you are excited about the pivot that is possibly could happen, then it's incredible. Look at what the NBA did. Leo, look what the National Basketball Association did. Okay, think
Mhm.
about this. They took an opportunity to lead in all sports. This was an opportunity. The NBA looked at it as not a tragedy, but they looked at it as an opportunity. Now they have already crowned a, a champion this year, in
Mhm.
spite of all that's happened with zero detections of COVID. What a great opportunity.
Mhm.
Nobody's sitting around saying, oh man, that was a bust. That was a failure. We can't do it this way. No, they created an opportunity where there was a tragedy.
Yeah.
And this is not everybody is in tears. Not
Mhm.
everybody is in tears. And that's not to minimize in any way what has happened over these last 8 months, 9 months. It's
Yeah.
not to minimize it, but what it is to say, if you're still here, then you're still here for a reason. And you need to celebrate that by looking at the opportunity and not the tragedy. It's all about how you look at it.
Yeah.
It's always how you are looking at it.
The
It's
perception.
always going to be that perception. It's always the way that you see things are more powerful than how they really are.
So
How do
let
you
me
see it is the only thing that matters.
let me stop you for 2 secs there, because I love where you're going. You mentioned perception, and so for those of you that the audience that doesn't know right now, you had something occur to you that you had to shift your perception. You didn't have an option. Do you
Right.
mind giving me a little bit of background about that story? And that was post 9/11. Am I correct? So maybe
This, yeah, absolutely.
you can tell me a little bit about that.
Absolutely. This all started. My perception change actually started years ago, but it actually all these lessons and growing up and being in the army all came to a head one day. I was in Afghanistan.
Hmm.
I was leading a foot patrol in Afghanistan, and in the over the duration of the foot patrol, we came under attack, and after the counterattack, I stepped on an IED. Um, it should have been an easy day, I'll be honest with you. It should have been one of those days where you're going in, you check some emails. I mean, obviously in Afghanistan, you're not doing this, but if we're talking about equating it to a normal day here in the
Right.
US, it's, hey, I'm going to go in, check some emails. I'll send them back, make sure everything else is accounted for, and I'm done for the day. It's going to be one of those easy days. We had to go to a village that was actually a pretty nasty village, but we weren't going there to stick around for a long time. We were going there to do a reconnaissance.
Mhm.
Just take a look around the room, maybe about 3 times the size of this one. Go into the room, just take the digital camera, take the pictures of what's there, annotate it, call it up, and then we're out of there. Head back to the outpost, and we're good. Um, Obviously, life had a way of selecting me for this special time in my life. And I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. I think that God has a way of allowing the tragedy to select you. Okay, so you falling 25 feet, it selected you of all people. It could have selected anybody in your house, but it selected you. And
Mhm.
I believe that challenges in life know what's on the inside of you.
Mhm.
Okay. So they select you because they know that what you have on the inside of you can only be brought forth with challenges. If you want to go find something that's very rare and very unique, very valuable inside of this planet Earth, you're going to have to do some digging. You're going to have to do some demolition. You're going to have to do some serious destruction to get to the very valuable pieces of all things on this planet.
Mhm.
And I believe in life, we are no different. If you want to get the best out of you, usually it takes something of a demolition kind of quality experience in your life. Near death experiences have brought the best out of people. Heartbreaks have brought the best songs. I see you got guitars on the back, on your wall back there. There have been incredible songs that have been born, not out of good times,
Mhm.
but out of the worst moments. You want to hear a good song? Listen to a good song sang by someone, maybe of average vocal talent, but when the message hits, it hits like a piece of dynamite
Mhm.
because it's so relatable. You ever
Mhm.
heard anybody sing a song that had their heart ripped out, man?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's medicine. It's medicine. But once again, heartbreak chose the right person. And
Right.
if you or anyone that's listening to this message, if you feel like that the bottom is falling out, you need to understand that circumstances and challenges, they picked you for a reason. Don't throw away a perfectly good tragedy and start complaining about it. It's pure gold. It's valuable. It's valuable. Challenges are just as valuable as the gas you put in your car or the gold that you hang around your neck. Don't throw it away. It's not trash.
It's so interesting because, I think winning is the easiest, although it takes the hardest work, right? If you watched, did you watch The Last Dance?
You know I did, bro.
Okay, so
If you didn't watch, this is for, if there's anybody watching Disney Last Dance, shut this off, go watch it, and then come back and listen to this.
Amen,
Don't
right?
listen to me and Leo no more. Stop what you're doing.
Amen.
Go.
So I'm telling you, if you want to talk about, the mindset of leadership, right? And not everyone agrees with the way Michael led his team. He was a little bit tough on some guys.
Yeah.
He even admitted it later in life,
Yeah.
but he got the best out of a lot of people.
Yeah,
But it seemed to me that the winning for him, he put a lot of work in to win. And what I got out of that last dance, and when I look at leadership, right? What we were like booming. We were just exploding. This is why I bring up The Last Dance. Like, we had private equity coming in from everywhere. We had people investing in companies. We had stock markets going crazy. I mean, we had this for 6 or 7 years. So let's be honest, right? We were on an upward trend. It didn't matter who was in office. I'm not into politics, whatever. But we were winning for a long time.
Yeah.
And then when you saw something happen, now the reason I relate this to The Last Dance is, for example, Michael loses the MVP to Karl Malone. God,
that hurts me to this. Bro, I was angry about it. This is all over 20 years ago. I was mad. I'm still mad about it when it came on.
Yeah.
How in the world did they cheat Michael Jordan out of that MVP?
Well, let me tell you this. I will tell you that I think that motivated him more. And that loss, we all see kind of, it's, in my world, right? And in the world of those that measure things in wins and losses, a CFO, a CEO, a CHRO, they have their metrics. They have their binary metrics. How many people did we retain? How many people did we keep? What was our EBITDA? How did we grow? What was our profit margin? What was our operating expense? It's all this stuff. It's all this binary stuff. And I think that when I looked at that, and I looked at how Jordan reacted to that, and I also look at how your reaction is right now, it's inspiring, because when we do take those losses, and what you said, I'm going to paraphrase this, is that's intent. Those losses, if we take them and we bring good intent from them, because you could have easily have walked in that room, stepped on that IED, and been pissed at the world for the rest of your life, right?
Yeah.
But that didn't happen. And so I want to just pivot just a second as we talk about this and think about the leaders that we're talking to and that are watching this today, right? I want to put you in a seat for a second. I don't mean to put you on the hot spot. Put you in a seat for a second. You're in charge of a team of 300, and you were a master sergeant. I mean, so you're in charge of a team of 300. You're in charge of a team that is in multiple remote locations across the country. We need to bring these people together. We need to work so that they're working from home, they're isolated. And you and I talked about this. We traveled a lot. You and I used to travel a lot, do a lot of fun things in front of folks. Yeah. These folks, what can we do? What can we leave them with? What are your thought processes right now that might be able to help those leaders maybe relate to those people and bring the most out of them, in your opinion?
No, I just be honest with you. It's so crazy you asked that. It's actually been a real thing for me. I was in Afghanistan in 2011, just a year before I got injured. And I was in charge of a company that was scattered all over Afghanistan. This is, people hundreds and hundreds of miles apart. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way you can get to them is by air sometimes. There's not a regular helicopter that always will come every single day. There'll be days, months, weeks that you will not see these people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just the way that it is. But this is where, and I'm going to be speaking out of my failures. This is one of my failures.
Okay.
I failed to be the very best leader in that instance because I failed to actually go there. I actually failed to go there and actually spend time with them. Now, I know for a lot of us, that may be the thing that you can't do, but this is something that leadership does ask of each and every one of us. What you must do is you must infuse who you are into the group.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you do that not only by your physical presence, but you must do that with constant communication. And it's really, if you want to seriously build a team, it's more than the X's and O's, man. It's the periphery that truly is going to galvanize your team. Mm-hmm. The times where I actually failed is it wasn't in the execution of the mission. It wasn't in going and fighting the bad guys. It was me failing to manage the periphery. Hey man, I know that your promotion's coming up. Hey, how can I help you get there? What do you need me to do? Do you need me to fill out some paperwork? Do you need me to make sure that you get to call home because your baby is almost due and I can get you a phone call? Or taking care of people, not about the X's and O's, but about the other things. Mm-hmm. And I call that leading with the heart. See, there's two leaderships. It's leading with the hammer and leading with the heart. And great leaders know when to balance the two. And if you are having to be a remote leader, that's not something that's foreign to any of us. But in these times where your physical presence cannot be there, you must be a leader with the heart. Everybody knows how to X's and O's. Everybody knows how to execute at this point. It's no different than any organization. The LA Lakers and the Miami Heat, they both knew how to execute with X's and O's, but the team that's going to prevail is also the team that leads and fights with the heart, man. Mm-hmm. Just look at the teams. Look at the teams that should have made it.
Yeah.
Look at the teams in the AL and NLCS series. The teams that are going to win are not just great on the field, but they're better off the field. You want a good team right now? Ask yourself, how much do you know about your teammates that have nothing to do with the job? If you're serious about being a great leader, how much can you tell me about the people in your team that have nothing to do with the job? Tell me about 3 or 4 family members. Tell me about birthdays. Tell me about anniversaries. Tell me about people that could potentially be in the hospital because of COVID, sicknesses and illnesses. Tell me about those things. You really want to be a leader of people? In the military, we call it leaders of men. Mm-hmm. You want to lead people, people will let you lead them as long as they know that you care, man. You got to give a crap about more than the job. Mm-hmm. You got to care a little bit more than the next guy next door. Mm-hmm. When I know that you care about me, I'll let you work me as hard as you want. As long as I know that you care about what's important to me.
I love it.
Everybody can execute. Everybody can execute, man. But only a few people that I've seen, when bullets are coming into your toes, when bullets are landing at your toes, you can't make people expose themselves to fatal danger. You can't make them. You have to show them. And the only way they're going to follow you is they know that you care, man. That's the only way that I've seen it. And this is in combat several times. It's the only way I know.
And I think
it'll work in the boardroom, it'll work in the war room, man.
Yeah, it'll work in the boardroom, it'll work in the war room. And so much of what you said, I mean, amazing stuff there. I look at it and there's an authenticity, right, that must be real. And I think a lot of us through this experience, whether we disagree on other things, we were galvanized as humans And you mentioned, in another conversation you and I have had about 9/11 and different things of that nature, galvanizing moments. This was maybe this pandemic was maybe not like the most galvanizing that it could have been, but at
Yeah.
least for businesses, I did notice, and for business leaders, I noticed them coming together and trying to have thought processes that were what's working for you, what's working for you, how is this going? You mentioned that something so critical, which was communication. And one of the things that I noticed in having being led by a lot of people, having led others before, is the authenticity behind it. And I wonder if you have
Mm.
any thoughts about authenticity and how we get, how we how that's best displayed as a human characteristic on a day-to-day basis. Because as a leader in the military, as a leader in the boardroom, as you said, what are some tips? What are some things that we can show? Because yeah, I can ask you about your kids, I can ask you about some other things, but at the end of the day, is it banter or is it real?
No, it's this, and this is what I went and talked to the United States Military Academy at West Point. I talked to the cadets twice this year, one virtually and one in person back in February, and I shared with them this: you're going to show up. These are leaders that will show up as 22-year-olds and be in charge of soldiers that's already gone to combat. Okay,
Mhm.
so they're going to be the neophyte in the room. And I said, yes, you're going to outrank everybody there, but everyone knows that you're going to be the we call them the cherry in the room. You're going to be the new
Yeah,
guy in the room,
the
okay?
new guy.
Yeah, you're going to have bars and you're going to have, power. You're going to have a whole lot of, horsepower, but no, everybody knows that you don't know anything. So
Right.
in that moment, I tell them to lead with the transparency of your character. Be very open and let them know I'm looking for help. I want to learn. And the best way that a leader can truly engender that trust is by being inquisitive of those that they lead. If you want to be a great leader and you know you're new, ask questions. Allow your team to be in the position of a teacher. Everybody wants to share information. Everybody wants to be able to share information with the boss, especially when the boss is asking questions. And not in a way where it's almost rhetorical, but when a leader, when a colonel or a general comes to my outpost and says, Sergeant King, hey, how can we help you? What are the things that we don't know way up in the tower? Tell me how I can help. What don't we know? This gives me, the sergeant, a chance to tell the general, oh my goodness. And he really is, he cares. He's taking notes. He's paying attention. He's saying, hey, listen, we're going to get you that fuel that you need. You're short ammo. I'm going to send down 10,000 rounds of ammo. These are the things that leaders, they engender trust by asking questions. And it's so simple. But some leaders, here's where some leaders mess it up. Here's where they blow it at. They become so attached to their position that they would never want anybody to know that they are ignorant of the things that everyone else knows that they don't know. But I don't want to ask because that's going to make me look like I am somehow not knowing. I'm ignorant and I should know this. So I'm not going to ask the questions. And there is where you blow it, because you give people an opportunity for them to shine.
Yeah.
And you are esteemed in their mind by you being transparent enough to say, hey, I don't know. Help me be better. Teach me how to load this weapon. Teach me how to climb this rope. I don't know how to climb. Teach me how to get through the woods with this compass and this map. I don't know. Help me out. I know I'm your leader, but I don't know what I should know. And if you teach me, I'll be better.
Yeah.
This is the one thing that I tell leaders: if you want to rise through the ranks fast, This is what you do in the military. Day one, ask questions, and never stop asking questions to the people that are at the lowest on the rung.
Mhm.
The private that shows up with no rank on his collar. Ask that guy the questions. You're going to make him feel like $1,000,000. And at the same time, everyone is going to say, hey, LT asked me. He told me he didn't know. And everybody will say, man, at least he had the guts enough to ask, rather than being the emperor with no clothes. And a lot of times that's what happens.
Yeah, and you're building culture. I mean, what you just said you didn't realize is you're building this culture of
Absolutely.
inclusivity. You're building a culture of caring, of leading with the heart. And there's a couple of just two key things that I noticed
Yeah.
from you. And I consider you to be a great thought leader. Other thought leaders that I listen to. Um, I listened to some of Brene Brown's work. Not sure if you listened to a little bit of Brene.
Absolutely.
What
Absolutely.
what you just said nailed it, because you said, in order to do this, we all have to have the courage to be vulnerable, right? And
Absolutely.
that's where you were. You were asking these people that thought process of hey, this is a vulnerable moment for me, and I don't know how to load this gun. Well, in my world, it's I don't know how to have this critical conversation with this employee. How do I
Yeah.
do it? I don't know how to tackle this concept of communicating digitally with a huge mass of people. Can somebody help me with some technology? And a lot of people are worried.
Absolutely.
They're looking over their shoulder, right? Because they're like, oh man, this is the looking over their shoulder thought processes. That guy behind me, or that person behind me, they know they're smarter. They might have an answer instead of just being vulnerable enough to open up and see what's happened in that capacity. And I love that you thank you for speaking to our cadets at West Point. What a amazing piece. I actually know someone who was at one of your talks. I'll talk to you about that offline.
Oh
A
man.
young female who was there, yeah. And so I will tell you that is an amazing thing that you did continue to do service for our country in that way. So
Man.
I'm going to pivot just one, as we kind of get to the 30-minute mark, as I'm looking at my little thing. I could talk to you all day essentially, but
Bro, you're asking
and
great questions, man.
I know that we could get there. But now that we you know you know I say this, you've heard this, you know, COVID may not be kind of done with us in some ways, but a lot of us are sort of done with COVID. And I think
Yeah.
we live in a society when we live in a world where we're willing to take some risk. We're willing to go and do some things. I've flown. I know you went to a trip to Memphis and so
Yeah.
forth. We have some individuals we need to be mindful of in our society. We need to be mindful of those that are at high risk, in my opinion. We need to be mindful of those people, obviously. But the thought process now is I have a lot of people right now that are saying, and this you're gonna love this. So they're saying, you know what? It's it's the third quarter. It's the fourth quarter now, right? It's
Mhm.
the fourth quarter of the year. It's the first quarter of next year right now. There's a lot of uncertainty. We don't know where
Yeah.
revenues are coming from. We don't
Yeah.
know where how this is going to turn out in the end. And can you imagine, Cedric, if we lived our lives that way? Like, I don't know what, oh, you know what? That's Saturday. I don't know what's going to happen on Saturday. I'm a little concerned about Saturday.
Yeah.
Maybe it's going to rain. Oh, I better not plan my entire, strategic goals around that. So
Yeah.
I'm running into leadership. I'm just going to be frank with you, and you know who you are, those
Yeah.
leaders that are saying to me, it's the fourth quarter. We're going to kind of sit it out until the second quarter of next year. And let me
Yeah.
tell you, I know you what your answer, but I believe those that are going to win. We talked a lot about
Yeah.
winning. Are
Yeah.
those that are going to crush it in the fourth quarter and in the first quarter. And I want to
Yeah.
get your opinion about that. And I want to get your opinion in regards to what actions they might be able to take through that.
No, I liken that unto this is one of the things that I was challenged with in the military. It was so tough with me because I was just like that. I was like, walking. All right, now this is going to sound a little abstract, but go with me here. Walking through and navigating through hundreds of miles of woodland, of just through the woods. It's tough when all you got is a compass and a map, right? All you got is a compass and a map. Now the map is it's the classic way of navigating. But a compass, it always is going to tell you the right direction no matter what. It's always going to say that's north, this is east, this is, no matter if you turn this way, the needle will still point, it will still tell you where north is. No matter what, if you go this way, it won't lie to you. Mm-hmm. Now, if we're talking about going from point A to point B, I always must be cognizant of where I am going. The moment when this particular ditch or tree or vine or mountain lion or whatever obstacles that's in front of me at this moment, the moment where this right here derails me from where I know point B is, that's where we get in trouble at. You always must know where you're going at all times. And if there's ever a moment where you are just submerged by it, just emotionally, physically, whatever the case may be, you must continue to keep your eyes on where you're going. And the only way that you can do that is to know from the very beginning. I know that is my goal. Now, yes, I must negotiate what's in front of me, but at the same time, I always must know where I am going. And that gives me a little bit more momentum the closer I get. You think about it, when you get on the road and you're going on a long road trip, the more you get close to where you're going, the more momentum you get. You go from here to DC, you start seeing the monuments, you start getting a little bit more excited because you're almost at your destination. Life is the same way. Life is the same way. You can get derailed by looking at the sign that says Washington, D.C., 450 miles. Or you can look at the sign that says Washington, D.C., 450 miles and know that I'm a little bit closer than where I was an hour ago. Absolutely. And that is what I tell people. It's the same thing in life. You cannot allow the fact that COVID is uncomfortable as it is. You must always keep your eyes on the goal to where you're going. And where we are going is maybe a place that we've never been before. Maybe that is uncomfortable, but at the same time, you have to know that it's going to make us a better us. Maybe it's not about getting back to the way things were. That place doesn't exist. I'll say it like this. My legs, man. The leg that this is supposed to replicate, it doesn't exist anymore. There is no going back to the way things were. It doesn't exist anymore. We're so encapsulated right now with wanting things to get back to the way they were. They don't exist anymore. You got to create a new normal. You got to create a new reality. Ain't about going back to the way it doesn't exist. The only outcome that exists is the one that you create. And I am determined to tell my family, I tell them every night, that we are going to a better place than before. That old place doesn't exist anymore. Quit trying to replicate it. It won't fit. It won't fit.
So the only outcome we can create, say that one more time for me, because that was too good for me to miss.
The only outcome that exists is the one that you create.
The only outcome that exists is the one that you create. You need to put that on your t-shirt.
It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist anymore. We try to go back to wearing in the beginning it was homemade masks, and now we got these other masks that we got.
Yeah, I got one.
We're trying to get to a place where it's no mask. That place doesn't exist. But what does exist is maybe a place where there's no mask, but maybe there's a place where there's something even better than a mask.
Yes.
How could that be? But that can only exist in our imagination if we choose to think that way. And once again, that's a reality that we create. And it's not a reality that's just going to appear. We have to create that new reality. We have to create it.
But Cedric, I tell you that as we're coming to our half hour. I'm going to say that I took a break from HR blockchain for a while. I was stupid enough to go crawl up in my attic and try to fix my daughter's dampers on her air conditioning. Fell, took a 25 feet fall, and I fell onto the shoulder. Thank God I fell onto the shoulder. It was a blessing that happened. But I will say this, and I want to leave this thought process with us, is that a lot of evaluation happened at that point. And I'm going to tell the story. I'm going to tell you the shirt story, which I've told you before. Is I fell in my favorite shirt. And that sounds weird, but I fell down. I was wearing this shirt. I bought it at Lululemon. It's not this exact shirt, but it was this type of shirt. Exact color, exact shirt, exact thing. One size smaller, by the way, because I did lose a little bit of weight after all this. But I'll tell you, Cedric, what happened is, the EMTs arrived, trauma, everyone, they cut the shirt off of me. Shirt was covered in blood. You know how it goes. You've been in much worse situations than that, and seen things that I can't imagine. So everything is sprawled out all over the floor. Everything's done. I was so sad. I remember in that moment, like I literally remember the moment where they were cutting my shirt, and I was like, man, I don't want this shirt cut. Although my shoulder's dislocated, my arm's broken, my hips displaced, everything's all over the place. But I'm thinking, I don't want this shirt broken. I don't want this shirt ripped open. And I think that when I'm getting to it, later on, Tracy, my wife, was kind enough to actually purchase the same shirt, put it under the Christmas tree for me, and have it ready for me after 2 years still of physical therapy and different things that I've been doing. But what I'm getting at it is that we are so, and you are a testament to this, and I want you to know in my life, this is important, that you are a testament to this, that we are so much stronger than we give ourselves credit for. We can persevere. They always say God will never give you more than you can handle.
That's
and
right.
That's a motto. It's a truth. We can take so much, and those that came before us took so much more than
Absolutely.
the comforts we have now. Can you imagine you and I having this conversation on Zoom? I mean, we wouldn't have been able to do this. Typically, I would have flown out to see you, with my whole camera crew and everything else. But I'm lucky enough to be here with you. And so, as I wrap that up, I kind of want to just know this last thought. You had this event. You had, what I would consider to be a traumatic event. So I had a traumatic event. It took me a bit to get over even being in a high spot. I'm gonna be vulnerable with you. I was up in high areas, and I was like, man, what if I fall, right? And open up with you a little bit. But I got over that, thank goodness. But the thought process is, that strength, where do we find it? How can we translate that today to the people listening and say, hey, this is where you can go. This is just a blip in history. It's going to be over. And not just that, we're going to be better. You just said it. We're going to be better for it. We're going to be better humans for it. And, and so I'm trying to think, and I'll let you run with that just a second, as far as like where that strength is. Where is that inner strength? What is it that got Cedrick King on the other end of this, speaking in front? I mean, you must feel like it's a dream. You're speaking in front of West Point cadets. You're speaking in front of Fortune 500 companies all over the place. By the way, if you haven't booked Cedric yet, you need to book him for your company. You need to have this man come and speak to your organization.
Absolutely.
And he's amazing.
Matter of fact, I'm going to give you the contact slide after we wrap. I'll shoot it to you.
Absolutely.
So you can have it posted.
Trust me, people are going to email me for it. But what is it that gets us there? What is it that
I'm going to tell you this.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you this, brother. Look, if you are serious about finding out what's really under the, I call it under the hood. Mm-hmm. If you're serious about finding out about what's on the inside of you, you don't wait till tragedy forces you to find out what's on the inside of you. Do the 100% best at whatever is in front of you right now. If you know that you got a 2-mile jog tonight, if you know that you got a workout to do, if you know that you got an email to send, whatever it is, go there often. And I say go there, I mean do the very best that you can do in whatever you got. Now, I know it may seem like I'm asking you to be a perfectionist. That's not it. If you know that you're running on 40% right now, it's hump day, man. It's Wednesday where I am. And if you know that you ain't got the 40% left in you, what I am telling you to do right now is give that 40% to something before the end of the day. Maybe it's not on the email that you're on right now, and maybe it's not on the Zoom call that you got later on today. But what I am saying is find a way to empty the doggone tank every single day on something. And it's no different than the first time you learned how to go to grandma's house, or the first time you got a friend that's moved to a new house, and the first time you go there, it's going to be a little awkward because you're going to be taking turns that maybe you never took before. But the more you go, the more familiar it will be. And sooner or later, you'll be going there without even looking at the GPS. You'll do it from memory. And what I am saying is this: by you giving 100% every single day, sooner or later, it will stop being a chore. It'll stop being something that you're afraid of. We see people every single day get to the finish line of the marathon and then pour it on. What I am asking you to do is give 100%, not just the finish line, but give it to something every day. So sooner or later, that becomes your modus operandi. That becomes the way that you do everything. It's very, very contagious in your life when you give 100% to something. It starts bleeding over to the way that you change your tires, from the way that you iron your clothes, to the way that you pop your popcorn. Whatever it bleeds over in life. And what I will tell you is very powerful. I'll finish you with this. I was just doing a very challenging hill. I posted it on Facebook, on LinkedIn. Yeah, I run up this really steep hill in my neighborhood, and it's a buddy of mine that runs the hill with me. Now, I had gotten to the midway point, and I said I'm going to wait on him. But once he gets up to where I am, I'm going to take off and I'm going to beat him to the stop sign.
You're going to wait on him. I love it.
Well, this is the thing. I'm on prosthetics, so I'm like, he'll probably beat me. But I'm going to give it everything I got. What he didn't understand was he was giving 100% all the way up the hill till he got to me. And when he saw me take off, that broke him. It broke him when he saw himself giving 100% and me leaving him. And what I am saying to you is this: if you are maybe out of gas right now and it seems like everybody is passing you by, what I am saying is you have double what you really think you got in the tank. Leo alluded to it. He alluded to it before. He gave everybody the answers to the test. There is so much more on the inside of you than you think. And the only reason why you think you're on E is because you rarely go to E. You may go close. You may go to I'm tired, but really you got probably about a whole half a tank left, and you don't even know it because you've never gone past tired. You've never gone past tired, and when you don't go past tired, then you will always think you're on E when you're really on half, a quarter, 3/4 of the tank. You got to empty the tank more so that you will know in times of distress that you got way more gas.
Wow.
And that's what I had to find out. You got way more gas than what your body is telling you you got. Your body and your mind is trained to tell you it's on E because you never go past tired. You got to go way past tired, man.
I'll tell you a couple. Yeah, I think that's a challenge for all of us. That's a challenge for our leaderships. That's a challenge for the HR community. We got to go past tired. We got to go past, and then at the same time, Cedric, your energy, I could charge my iPhone on you. I think if I just set it on your forehead, I think you have that capability. I think God has blessed you with amazing talents. I'm so grateful that you were able to spend some time with my community, the people that are involved with us. We're going to have your contact information so that folks can get in touch with you.
Absolutely.
I hope you're in considerations of writing a book if you're not already there. I hope
Yeah,
that
I've
you're
already written one. As a matter of fact, I've already written a
oh,
book. I've
I
already
need
written
it.
a book.
Where is it? I got to get a copy of it. Send me a slide so I can shoot it up and we can get people ordering that. Um,
Got it.
you are in the vein of the Goggins of the world, of the Wilkins of the world. I love what you're saying. I love
Thank you.
everything that where you're at. I'm glad I feel like I'm catching you at the beginning of a meteoric rise of where you're headed, and I just am I'm humbled that you share this time with me. I'm blessed, and I'll tell you this that I think I'm gonna kick some ass today, buddy.